Hey, Cole, Mike Catalana. When did you know for sure you were going to play in the game this week?
I would say Thursday.
So Sean described you as week to week. Are you aware of that like designation? And does that matter to you in terms of your preparation and trying to get yourself going, maybe where the team thought you were?
I mean, we kind of knew from the get-go. The next day after I had the injury, we kind of knew what the timetable may be or what my chances were of playing the playoff game. So once they told me that, I kind of made up my mind that I was going to do it. So there's like with something like this, there can't be any doubt. You know what I mean? You gotta be motivated to push yourself and try to find a way. So that was really all that was on my mind. I don't really care what he tells the media or whatever. So it doesn't really make a difference.
Just real quick, Josh describes you as tough as nails. Sean said tough as nails. Did you feel like is it about toughness though? Playing in the game, is that part of it? I mean, it's an injury too. I mean, you got to do the smart thing and the right thing.
Yeah, but when I had to watch Week 17, it tore me up, and I told him that I couldn't. There's no way I was watching another game. The pain I felt from watching that game mentally was worse than any pain that I was going to feel physically. So, really it comes down to just deciding that you're going to do it. And then I knew that once I got in the game, between plays or during the play, my adrenaline would take over and I'd be fine. It's just I had to deal with the mental aspect of between plays. And that's really the hardest part but you just got to just do it. You know what I mean?
Great. Thank you.
Hey, Cole, you talked about the pain in between plays. How did you feel coming out of the game when the adrenaline falls down and you're back to normal and all of that?
Yeah, the next day is always the worst. The adrenaline still carries over a little bit after the game for me. It's kind of like you gotta have time to kind of come down from it a little while. I don't sleep well after games anyway, so it's so hard for me to come down from that rush you get and adrenaline after a game. It's always been hard for me. So really, that next morning waking up was the struggle. But I'll say this: I feel a lot better at this point this week than I did last week.
That's encouraging news. What about limitations or anything? Obviously, you're fighting here, so you're not the guy probably with the physical abilities that you can do. We saw most of the season. What sort of limitations do you feel that you have as you power through this?
In my mind, I don't think I'll be as limited as I was last week. So that's all I care about. I just want to be better than I was the week before and just keep improving. I don't want to be a liability. So, it's not about me and really like pride. I got to put pride aside. If at some point in the game I feel like someone can do it better than me, I got to tell them and let them know that, because it would kill me if I cost the team. So, but as far as limitation goes, I don't know what it's going to be like. I just know it's going to be better than the week before.
And real quickly, were you wearing a brace at all, or will you be wearing a brace?
I was.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Hey, Cole, Josh Reed here. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes. When you look at the quarterbacks that are left right now in the AFC, Josh and Lamar, Baker, and Patrick Mahomes, pretty not only talented list, but young list. Is there anything to make of that? Kind of like maybe like the changing of the guard type of thing?
I don't know. I just, guys come and go in this league, and I just think we had a very good group of guys that came into the league around the same time, so it just kind of ended up that way. Also, they ended up in pretty good situations with a lot of talent around them to help, and that's important too. It takes all 11, and they're obviously great quarterbacks. So I just think it's kind of the league's really fortunate right now to have a lot of good young guys, and the future's bright.
What is it that you see on film that makes the Ravens defense so effective?
Well, their front's really good. They get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They do a good job of mixing it up, and then they got a lot of talented guys in the back end. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for us. But we just they do a really good job of taking the ball away also in the back end. It's something that they do better than anybody. So we got to do a good job of taking care of it as well. They're going to be coming for it. Anytime your defense that can get the offense extra opportunities, that's huge. So, and that any team that has turnovers is going to lose the game. So we got to do a good job of taking care of that, and they're one of the best at it.
To follow up on that a little bit, as a wide receiver, after you catch the ball, if you're playing against a defense that is going to come from behind and look to punch it out, is there a little more, mentally going on that says, I got to tuck this away, because they're going to come for it?
As a player early in my career, there were times where I didn't think about the ball, and those are the times where they get you. You know what I mean? So it's got to be, no matter who you play. For me, I'm very ball conscious, and I'm probably more on the conservative side. Like I'll go down, before I'll try to go down before maybe trying to fight through a bunch of guys to get some extra, unless I have to, obviously. But at times where I already got the first, or certain situations, I'll be conservative just to make sure I keep the ball for us, because you know how big turnovers are.
Hey, I appreciate your time, and enjoyed the new single, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Cole, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. Last week, the video of the guys dancing during practice got a ton of attention on social media. Everybody loved it. To me, though, it sort of signified one of the ways that you guys are trying to stay loose as the pressure mounts with each, passing week here in the playoffs. Would you agree that, that's one of the ways that the group, just tries to stay loose and not let the pressure of these high stakes games kind of get to you?
Man, when we're out here together, there's nothing like, we're not thinking about that at all. It's just, we're together with our family and we're having a good time. It's not like, oh, we're in the playoffs, we need to stay loose. You know what I mean? It's, we're playing a kid's game. It's meant to play with a lot of enthusiasm and energy and to have fun. And if you take the fun out of this game, especially at this level, it's hard to play it. So, I'm just glad we have a environment where, they allow that and, allow us to be free as players and I guess express ourselves. But I mean, we're just having a good time, and we love football. So why not enjoy it?
Sean, says often that when guys come here, he wants them to be the best version of themselves, and that he wants them to be comfortable expressing who they are and showing their personality. Is that where that culture comes from?
Yeah. And you know what? I think a lot of people say that, but, he actually means it when he says it. A lot of times they'll tell you be who you are, but at the same time, if they don't like who you are, they're not going to keep you here. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot of different personalities in here. There's going to be guys you favor, guys you maybe don't, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think that is the most important thing. If a guy feels like he can't be himself, he's not going to play to the best of his ability because he's not comfortable. You need guys to be comfortable where they're at, and they're having fun with the guys around them. They're going to play harder for the guys around them, and that's key. And that's really hard to find in the NFL because there's a lot of different things that can distract you from that team aspect and really caring about the guy next to you. But it's made easy at this place, and everybody here truly cares about the guy next to him, so they're going to bust their butts not to let him down. It's a big thing to establish early, and McDermott has done an incredible job of that.
And then just lastly from me, you mentioned earlier that it's a kid's game and that you have to sort of treat it as such, but you came from a huge media market in Dallas where there was a lot of media pressure and outside fan pressure. And now, as I said, as you go in the playoffs, each game, the stakes are going to be raised. Was that something that you needed to learn, that you can't let that get to you? And do you try to communicate that to maybe some of your younger teammates who haven't experienced it yet?
Yeah, it took me. I wish I would have learned it way earlier because it made me such a better player when I got away from the media. Because I don't even run my social media. I have my marketing people do it now. Whereas my whole time I was in Dallas, I ran it. That was the biggest mistake I ever made in my life. It's easy to get caught up in a lot of like what he say, she say stuff, and you start to care too much about what people think, and it's people that don't even like know what they're talking about half the time. You know what I mean? So me getting away from that when I came to Buffalo was probably one of the biggest reasons, for my success now. I don't let other people, what they say define what I do. I kind of know in my heart what I am and what I'm capable of, and that's good enough for me. I don't need them to know. Whereas I think a lot of young guys for sure get caught up in that, and they want the public to know like they're this or they're that, and, but why? You know what I mean? Why does it matter what they think? You know what I mean? It doesn't. So, I try to encourage young players to get away from it, but this generation is a little different. It's easier said than done. It's kind of what they live for sometimes. So it was the best thing I ever done, and it helped me. I think I needed that progression in Dallas to grow to who I am today, and I feel like I've become a far better person because of it.
Real insightful. Thank you, Cole. I appreciate your time.
Yep.
Hey, Cole, Matt Bove. I don't even know how I'm supposed to ask you a question after that because that was so like insightful and real and genuine.
Oh, no.
Thank you for that. My question's going to be so stupid now, but I was just wondering. Right. I was just kind of wondering, we talked so much last week. Hey, what do you guys learn from the Houston loss, and what do you make sure you take from that? And I know that a storyline this week is going to be you guys played Baltimore last year, and it wasn't the prettiest game offensively. Is that something you look back on, or is this team so different now that it really doesn't matter what happened last year?
I mean, you definitely look back on it to see how, they try to take some of the things that we do away, for schematically. But like you said, we are a different team than the one they played last year. And, we're a different team from the first couple games this year. We've grown so much as a unit this entire season. So, I really feel like we've taken everything that we learned from last season and applied it to the entire season already. So now it's just you're going to make mistakes in this season, and we'll learn from those as well. Just hopefully they're not, two big mistakes that we can't overcome. You know what I mean? So you never know. That this game has a funny way of teaching you things every week.
Thanks, Cole. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Hey, Cole, if you could for a minute, take us inside this matchup this week. Marlon Humphrey, guy last week goes up against AJ Brown. This week, he'll face a much different player, but equally as dynamic. What makes him tough to go against?
Well, one of the best things he does is get the ball out of receiver's hands. So I got to do a good job of possessing it and holding on to it because he's going to come for it. And, all the best players in the league, or the best players that ever played DB, are guys, like that who, taking the ball away for your team is humongous. So, that's one of the things that he does very well. He's really strong. He plays well in the run game. Plays well with his hands, and he moves good for a bigger guy. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for me. And I know he's probably, he seems like he's a dog and a competitor. So I know he's looking forward to the matchup. So, but this is what you live for. You live to go against some of the best guys. So it'll be fun for us to just compete against each other.